Hello. Welcome to Jarviskjir, Here Be Heroes. I nearly said a mother's love, but we're in a much more dire situation than that.
Oh no. Oh god, the gif you tweeted is terrifying.
Yes! Today we have quite the situation going on. I'm trying to say, I don't think we've been chatting. I don't think there's any small talk that needs to be discussed before the game at all. I think there's nothing really. We just want to play D&D. Yeah.
What do?
I mean, there's football going on.
There's football going on. There's Avengers going on.
American football.
I just tried to drink my coffee and I had tape over
Tape
the
on
actual thing. Yeah, it's like, why am I not getting
Remember why we were talking about like your low intelligence modifier earlier?
It's accurate. Helps me speak in character.
Speaking of, Tesh, why don't you describe what happened last session?
So, we did a dumb.
We?
Yeah, hold on here.
Tobias,
Wait
you're
a second.
dumb. You see, when they said that there were places we weren't meant to go, and we asked why, and they said because the god said we're not meant to go, that's not good enough for Tobias and Virik. So we had to go look. And Virik got sucked into the Shadowfel, and then saved by ferrymen who are working for the ferryman, and then made a deal with the ferryman selling his soul, which he doesn't know was a thing, just in time for his friends to show up.
Yeah, literally, like an hour later, his friends show up after having sold your soul, and
to get back to them.
Yeah. That's pretty much exactly where we start off, with you being inside the ferryman's galleon.
Just notice the inverse color dark realm photo you put in Tobias's thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh no.
The session starts with you in the ferryman's galleon domain, where you were, Virik, with a bunch of the other ferrymen, which have now kind of drifted away, leaving you with your three friends, with Barut and Eleanor worrying over you. Pretty much continuing exactly where we left off, with them realizing that you sold your soul here, and what the plan is. With someone saying they're going to arrange a boat for you, and going off and doing that.
Virik, who did you speak to? Were they here?
I'm gonna look around. Is the ferryman still
You can
here?
see the space where he was. There's no throne or anything, the throne he was on, but he's not there, seemingly.
Okay. The ferryman, he was, and I'll point to where he was, over there, but he's gone now.
I'm just gonna keep an eye out for him if he pops up before we go. Just point him out to me, Virik, if you can.
Will do.
Thank you.
Hard to miss.
I'm sure.
Are we at a table right now?
No,
Like,
the looks like this would be like a mead hall or something. But all the tables are pushed out to the side of the room, and all the chairs are stacked up and stuff.
We could go sit down on a table.
Yeah, you can go sit down if you want.
Yeah.
May as well.
Just like drag Virik over.
Yeah.
Virik's probably still very buzzed.
Yes, there's a lot of like at the table. There's mugs of ale and such.
Now, Virik, this is very important. What can you tell us of what you know of these people?
Okay, so, they ferry people to where they're meant to go when a soul goes somewhere where it's not meant to when they die. Talk to a couple of them. They're pretty nice. They're real fun.
And you agreed to help them for
To
a specific job?
A
specific task? One person soul, maybe?
no.
Just in general?
Yeah, they said that they'd train me and then send me back to you guys.
Okay.
They said that the magic that I can do, it's something that like is sought after in like these realms.
If we try and get Virik's soul back,
It might not be like a tangible thing, though.
Yeah,
It might just be like,
no. But I'm asking the question: if we try and fix this deal, reverse it, what will happen?
You get an overwhelming result of woe. Because I imagine when Barut rolls the bones, it's not a binary. It's kind of there's shades of grey that can happen. This is like all the bones land on woe. Which you probably have never seen before.
Nope, that's new.
Oh no.
There's not much we can do about it now. At least not right now.
well, doesn't Virik already worship someone? Perhaps their clergy can help us? I don't know anything about your religion, Virik. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm not
I
for
didn't-
but I didn't think to ask.
I mean, I didn't really think about it as worshipping. I more just respected and followed the practices of.
Right,
Uh,
but Virik, where does your soul go when you die now?
I don't know. I never really thought about that sort of thing.
A little late now, but maybe we should think about these things, going forward. When we're dealing with them.
Oh.
In that quiet period, the same ferryman that you saw before, Virik, that helped you, seemingly, kind of featureless cloak, animal mask, sort of drifts by. And this hall, 10 minutes ago, was filled with people, and they're all gone. Just whoever knows where, and you didn't really see them leave. It says, a boat is ready for you. You can travel up to the seas.
Do you know when Virik may have to return? I say to this random dude.
I don't know when he'll be called back. Or called to action.
Thank you for the information.
He just kind of like motions off to a doorway, which probably wasn't there before. It's kind of hard to remember things.
Do you have a question, Virik?
I don't know.
In time, you will be filled with great knowledge.
We'll figure it out, Virik.
Okay. So, Virik's gonna very stupidly turn to the guy and say, so, since I don't really need the help anymore, is there any way to go back out on this deal?
Bro puts his hand in his, his face in his hands just so hard.
Literally just twists its head and there's like a kind of bone creaking noise. It says, your first task is your first little test. The ferryman must travel through the plains, so you must make your way home. On your own.
Okay, so that's a no then.
Contracts are eternally binding.
Do you have this
It's
contract
silly and
written
weird
out
again.
anywhere?
No.
Just for his records, his personal records. Look, he's not the one to usually
Contracts
keep
with the ferryman are not written on papyrus.
doesn't
We
need to be
perhaps-
written anywhere. But
Yes, get a verbatim recollection.
so I
the
can write it
recording.
down.
Yes.
Are there like rules or things like?
Perhaps it would be better if we speak to somebody else.
he just kind of looks at the lot of you and shakes his head and is like, "You're a long way from home. You're not the kind of people that are usually allowed in here because of those kind of questions that you're asking. You're not going to find any paperwork. You're not going to get the words of the ferryman verbatim. I am going to offer you a faster way up to the seas, and that's about it. You can try and find someone else, but they've all scurried away. You kind of interrupted the fun."
So we can't speak to anybody else. You're the only person here at the moment.
No. The only person here that you can see.
Lovely. You know, actually, Ollie, I would like to use my divine sense at that.
This is like a blinding light.
Yeah.
You
Is it light or
are
the shadow?
you are surrounded by darkness. It's an uncomfortable feeling, but at the back of the room where someone, if all the tables were lined out like a figurehead would sit, you can just feel this incredibly strong presence that kind of hurts. It's almost blinding in a divine way, or in an unholy way.
Oh, it's still there. It's just invisible.
I mean, I'll walk over.
Oh no, this is gonna go down so well.
Sort of, not all at once. When Varric like appears and disappears out of invisibility, it's kind of fades like a mist. The ferryman, in its giant form, leaning in the throne, just kind of appears and leans down much more. When you talk to Varric, you kind of lean down a little bit. He like leans almost all the way down to look at Aelinor, this strange figure that is both undead and alive, with this glowing eye and this clothing that kind of resembles a sea captain's, but not quite, and the smell of seaweed and rot that kind of travels through the air, as well as strong ale that kind of masks the unpleasant smell. And he just says, "You best be leaving. There's lots of people in this realm that would rather keep your soul than show you the door, lassie."
And our friend. Who does his soul now belong to?
Belongs to me. But don't worry. It's a two-way relationship.
When will he be called back here?
I
We have
know
a very
not when.
important quest.
He will gain
Is it
in
when he
strength.
dies?
No. A ferryman never dies, not really. Although if he does fall on your plane, he'll come back here. That's very much true. His soul's protected from the horrors that might happen to anyone else.
I'm gonna turn to look at Barut, see if he has any questions.
Ruit's just still wanting that contract at this point, so he's. But he knows he's not going to get it. He knows better than that. No.
What was he promised in return for his service?
Wasn't promised anything. He was promised service for his service. He signed up for a life. Traveling the multiverse. Doing good deeds. Sounds like a grand deal.
Thank
Sounds
you for
like
your time.
coercion.
He just kind of motions with one hand towards the door, which is larger than before. It was like now it's like a double doorway, it being held open.
Did he know he was selling his soul when he sold it to you?
How many mortals do you think understand that they have a soul to sell?
Yes, but his soul already belongs to someone.
Evidently
and I find
not.
it odd.
Can't make a contract if the soul's already been claimed. But nice try. He kind of leans back in the chair, this creaking sound that's somewhere between a body and a ship, and just kind of waves the hand, and another mug of ale just kind of gets brought up to him by skeletal hands coming out from the wood. And he's like, "Don't worry, I won't interrupt your magical quest to save the mortal realms. Honestly, making sure the elementals stay where they're meant to go is kind of in my business."
I'll pause for a minute and like wait to see if the other two have anything to say before turning away.
Varric is like just very meekly standing behind the other two.
If it's in your business to keep the elementals where they are, and you understand the importance of our quest, why are you making us a journey through the Shadowfel in order to get back? You have the ability to take us back. You have the ability to get us back there faster so we can deal with it faster. Then you have the opportunity to call Varric back faster. Why are you making us go through all the hassle of traveling through this plane first? That just seems counterintuitive for what you're looking for.
Do you know how quite very small you are? I
Yes.
don't mean physically.
No, yes, I understand that. I understand that every soul is one in a sea of billions. I understand that. But that does not mean that any soul is less important. Small does not mean unimportant. It may seem that way to you, but if it really did, if it truly did, you wouldn't be in the business you're in. You wouldn't be in the business of making sure that they go where they're meant to go.
Exactly. Very keen of you, Master Elf. I want him to be able to do great things. This is a push in the right direction. This is helping your quest much more than it's helping mine. I've already granted him quite a kindness, and I'll be giving him many, many more in the millennia to come, if all goes perfectly well. I'm not the kind of deity that plans and schemes. I simply do what has to be done. He'll be called back when I say. He'll get what I say. He'll do what I say. And you'll leave when I say. And at that point, you're kind of dragged by the air backwards. Not quickly, like quickly enough you can keep speaking, deliberately so.
Yeah.
But you're all just kind of like pushed mentally towards the door.
Such a waste of time.
And then the door closes, and there is just a little boat, similar to the one you kind of would brought down in Varric, with a lantern that's not lit, just kind of sitting in this room on some netting.
We'll figure this out, Varric. It'll be okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I didn't know this sort of thing was a thing. Like, I heard our contracts in Bastillion, but like I vaguely know what they are. I fucked up, didn't I?
Well, I think you are only 50% to blame.
I would say less than that.
Tobias just gets in the boat and doesn't look at any of you.
I get in the boat.
Yeah, in the boat.
When you all
I'm
get in the
slow too, but I do get in.
When Barut finally sets foot in the boat, you feel this rushing sensation as you're essentially launched up through all the water. It is very much like you're pushed down to the bottom of the boat, and then the little rowboat is like to the
You
top
thought
of the
the
water.
flying boats were cool.
And you just find yourselves on the top of a dark sea. Similar to how I described it before, you can't really see that it's water other than the tiny, tiny bit of light that reflects. A sky that's kind of permanently in the twilight phase. And you can not really see anything all around you aside from directly in front, where the boat is pointing. It's kind of a blue glow in the horizon. It's really the only feature you can see. You can't see land, you can't see water, but quite a ways away you can see something is glowing a kind of royal midnight blue.
So, one thing I did learn about this place is it like it's they said it was like a mirror of our world. There was like the island that we came from was here, except everything was wrong. I don't know if that helps.
It might. I mean,
Wasn't the breach stone, the breach, wasn't that like a thing with other planes?
I don't know enough about it, to be perfectly honest with you. I've only heard about it from...
I mean, can't we attempt to come back to the way we came through? Or the way you came through?
I mean, a shadow grabbed me and then I was here.
So we can try to go back to that spot. Right?
Maybe? If it's
At the
a
very
mirror.
least. It's weaker
Yeah.
there, right? The veil between.
I think so.
It's
I
probably
assume
the
it's-
closest to where we are. And if it's a mirror to our world, maybe Barut can use the stars to navigate.
You can't see any stars.
There's nothing.
Well,
nothing.
nope.
That was
There's
one of the
there's no
things-
clouds, there's no
It
moon,
could
there's
just
no
be
stars.
overcast. Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah,
I
it's
was-
just
Yeah.
color.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's go towards the little blue orb, I guess.
When you start to move, ooh. Hello.
I am sending a message to the Jade Dragon on Watcher's Isle, and I am going to be asking a very specific question.
Mhm.
We have Virik. We are looking for a way out. What is the safest exit from the Shadowfell?
Can you roll me a D100, please?
Yes, I can.
Oh no.
I know I need to roll a d20 anyways to see if it goes through even, because if it lands on a 1, right?
That's
But
That's what the D100 is.
Oh, okay, sure.
You're good.
Hey!
You feel the message go through, although it's strained. You actually need to put more force into a sending spell, which has become effortless to you.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing it a lot. It's strained. It's difficult, and you do feel that connection, and you feel a pondering. I do not know the ways between the worlds. That is not my domain. I know they are many and dangerous. Wishes of luck.
Prick.
Helpful, not.
Well, the Jade Dragon wishes us luck. That's frustrating. I was hoping they'd have a way through.
So we
You had
did
a
get
way
to.
to here, but not a way out.
All right, I'm doing.
Oh, that's
one,
how you got here. Okay.
I'm doing one more thing.
Yeah, the Jade Dragon did describe when you went that, like, it could send you, but to bring you back would be
A whole other thing.
to be too dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sending
What?
again, but this time to the ferryman.
Oh, okay.
Look,
Sure.
I have this spell. I'm gonna use it,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna say, we've reached the surface safely. Thank you for sending us this way. Which direction should we go?
And how do we tell directions?
There is a reply. And it's just, I would go north. You won't find much going any other way unless you go very far.
Oh, okay.
Good. Great. So
I imagine Aelnor started rowing. It's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
let's just start going. It's more difficult than rowing in regular water, even though it's like stagnant and nearly quite completely still. The water is thick and kind of oily, and it does have an oily smell. But you're starting to go. It looks like it's further away than, I mean, how would you know how far it is away? You can just see blue, you know? So if Brute had more scheming to do.
I'm thinking. It's, because I could use my... I don't want to use my last 3rd level spell slot is the issue. Might need that for something if we run into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna hold
Sit.
off. Yeah. I will turn to Tobias and I'll say, so which way do you think is north?
I think, unfortunately, we have. Oh, can I try and remember? Was this sort of just like in the distance light there when I was running away from?
No.
Okay.
No. You can't see the island you're at before either.
No. I was just gonna say if I could remember which direction it was to the island, but no. Okay. I guess we only really have one point of reference, so we might as well go towards that.
Yep. I'm not railroading, you're railroading. It takes a bit of time of rowing until you can see what that blue glow is coming from. A mountain on an island that is leaking some blue glowing substance from the tip, almost like a volcano, but in sort of a color swap. It seems as you get closer, you can actually see that island is kind of has mainland around it, although quite like maybe a day's rowing from there, because of just how weirdly still it is. When you can see light, like on those areas, like little lighthouses, you can see it from very far away. But just in regular sight, you can't see very far away at all. Like even looking across the boat, it's kind of hazy because the shadows are cloying and more thick than usual. This volcano island, as you start going up to it, you can see... actually, why don't you give me nature rolls? Anyone who really wants to give a shit. Or perception checks, but they're a separate thing, really.
I will do perception for the separate thing.
I will do perception because I will not know nature.
Aelnor, Aelnor being a mountain lass, you can tell that knowing what volcanoes are in concept, not in practice, but more just from like mountain rivers and stuff. Not all of the ways the blue magma is kind of flowing down that volcano are natural. Some of them look like deliberate channels, where it's sort of being diverted for some reason. And most of them, Barut notices, are going towards one side of the island, where it appears there's a tiny little settlement, where the magma kind of drops into the water and creates this big plumes of steam and whatever. There's these stone water wheels that are bringing water back up as well, and very simple little stone buildings, some kind of settlement. You can really see it from the lights it's making, but there's lights on the water wheels that are spinning, so you can figure that out. Yeah, little settlement in the distance with little docks and not like maybe a village, maybe a small town or something. Sort of nestled before the actual rocks of the volcano.
Well, that looks like a place. I'll start rowing towards it.
Certainly does.
You row towards it and maybe tie your boat up on the little rickety wooden docks, which look more decrepit than any dock line you'd ever seen before. Rotten wood and big cracks and things that almost seem deliberate. You actually do see figures kind of on the shore of this island. It doesn't have a beach. It just has like rock, which is why this little wooden gangplank is useful, because otherwise you'd have to climb it. But most of them seem to. It's almost like a square, like all the buildings, with the water kind of in these channels around it, and they kind of glance, and then a lot of them kind of scurry further in, but they're always at the edge of your vision. They're only just ever black sort of silhouettes as they go back into the town.
Okay, that's weird.
Like they don't want to be seen by us.
Well, that either means one of two things, and let's hope it's the good one of those two things.
I don't see a good one.
Yeah, do you want to enlighten us what that is?
They're trying to stay away from us.
Oh, you're thinking stay away or ambush.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense. As far as I'm concerned, it either means they're afraid of us or they want nothing to do with us.
Oh.
Which ultimately translates to both of those things as well. So, because if they want nothing to do with us, they'll try to get rid of us, which could be ambush.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'll just kind of walk around and explore a little bit.
As you get closer, the ground, like it's a flattened sort of square of ground that is in some places little paving stones have fallen apart and things like that. It's very in a state of disrepair. The buildings are very simple, like square stone huts essentially. Sometimes with slight other features. When you see people, they're wearing these heavy robes and cloths and tattered clothing that hide features that almost look like they're melted and made of sort of black ooze. They do sort of resemble humans, but really mostly in shape. And it seems that you see some of them telling others to sort of get out of the way and stay away from you, that some of them stare at you with what you can only see as hunger in their eyes. It seems that the little buildings are like stalls, and one of them is selling like fried fish, although it's clearly rotten and not stuff you want to eat. There's some writing in a language that you don't recognize, but seems similar to Vas, but is not that. The scripting is Gothic, but more circular and swooping. And they appear to be selling more, like you saw in the ferryman's place, like little jars with light inside. You see a lot of variations of that.
I will go up and ask about those and see what they are.
You go up, and there seems to be a woman who's kind of at one of these stalls, and there's a bunch of them in a basket, and a sign above it, and you're just like, I wish I know what that said, because it's clearly some sort of like sale or something. And you say that, and they kind of look at you, and then they speak back in this language that just gets over it, and it's very clearly, I don't know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. It's like, do you speak common? No.
I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna speak.
Start the list.
I'm gonna speak Vas to them, just because it is similar doesn't necessarily mean that there will be but there might be some words that are similar.
You can give me a persuasion check to try and find some like simple like yes nos that are close enough.
Okay.
See, that's smarter than what I thought was going to happen, which is just try this language, try this language, try this language.
When like because they're all clearly watching you in this little town, right? When you come up, the woman kind of shrinks back, and is very clearly talking to like someone else. Like,
Can I intuit whether that was deliberately from specifically Brute,
You can
or
give me
did
an
she
insight.
have the same sort of shy away from with Eleanor?
Wasn't as scared of Aelinor.
Interesting.
You do figure they seem like they don't want anything to do with you. I mean, they're
Yeah.
all looking at you with hunger, but they're also staying away. And they're often talking to each other about something. But you can hear a similar sound over and over in whatever language it is. And sometimes they look towards the one slightest bigger building. It actually isn't in this kind of complex. It's a bit up the hill. It's kind of like a dome, like a stone building with a dome on top. But it kind of looks... Some of the structures here look vaguely dwarven. Especially when you look a bit more up the mountain and like the channels that have been carved for the magma. Whichever one's more appropriate. Vaguely dwarven.
Okay.
Interesting.
I really want to lore keep the sign, but my eyes light up and I'm gonna terrify the shit out of them. But I'm not going to, is the thing. Because as this is, believe it or not, this is more in Burrowit's element, is going into a culture that he doesn't recognize and like trying to read the culture and trying to determine what's going on. So this is actually more his wheelhouse than anything we've been doing for like the last like year almost. So he's actually like not gonna lore keep, even though it's his natural desire to do so, because he doesn't want to scare these people who are clearly shrinking away from him and who are clearly like not comfortable.
And also want to eat him.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, you know, devouring souls and all. You know.
Where to now?
Um,
Shall we go speak to their leader? And I point to the giant building that they all seem to be looking towards.
might not be a leader that's up there. Might just be, and I mean, who knows if they'll even speak any language that we speak. I'm gonna try something though, and I'm gonna speak Dwarven, and just see if they
Try speaking Dwarven backwards.
What do you say? What do
I'll
you
try that if they don't understand.
What do you
the
say in Dwarven?
In Dwarven, I just say, we're just passing through, but we were wondering what this sign said.
You actually hear a reply in Dwarven, not from the, like, there's a small gathering of people, there's like this woman, and then there's two things that, like, you could maybe think are children, but, like, maybe they're not. They're all this strange sort of goopy undeadness. But the person that sort of calls out is from an open building who does kind of resemble a dwarf, but not quite. The features are shallow. There's kind of tusks. The hair is not kept in a way a dwarf, like dwarves are very proud of their, but this is just ragged and out and just growing and wild. And you'd hear a reply saying, "You're going to want to leave this place."
Yes, that's what we're trying to do. We just don't know the way.
He is at an anvil, quite stereotypically, and leans back, and then kind of motions you over with a sort of grubby, stubby fit hand.
Absolutely, come on over, and I'll. Are there chairs near him?
It's kind of little stony stools. Yeah.
I'll point and ask in Dwarven if I can sit.
He kind of actually. It seems confused.
Yeah.
So you just end up sitting.
I'll sit down and I'll just say, we are clearly not from here. We're trying to get back to our plane of existence. Do you have any suggestions?
I can sell you map.
A map would help, but I don't know that we will necessarily have the same currency that you use.
No. See, ye are the currency.
Can't do that.
Well,
Everyone out here's got half a soul or less. Everyone would want to drink you up.
Unfortunately, all of our souls are accounted for. So we have nothing to trade. Except our time.
You're gonna have a hard time trying to find your way to your world without trade.
Then we'll have to find something else to trade.
Aye, you will.
Do you have any other suggestions?
I don't think I make.
Fair enough. And what do you make?
Offerings to the Empress.
The Empress. Is she, and I'm going to point to the large building.
This person's got like kind of an emotionless face, which is very anti-dwarves. Because while people might say they you know, like they laugh big and yell big, you almost see as if he's about to laugh, but it doesn't ever come up. It's like, no, that's just, and it doesn't even have a name for whatever lives up there. And says, Empress far away, sleeping, but make offerings. That's what I do. And you can actually see, in the metal that's been worked here, little statues of women, of birds, of a mountain, of seemingly of this town, like a little sort of scene, as well as some weapons and tools, and actually a blunderbuss. Not that any of you would really recognize it. You can clearly tell it's a weapon, but it's kind of leaning up against his seat at the anvil.
Were you on the mortal plane once?
No.
Has this always been your home?
No.
Where were you before?
World Eaters in World Eater lands.
I don't know.
He
anything
actually
about
points.
But,
He points in a direction which is kind of the direction you had to get. So if you kept going, you would be going that way. He kind of points that way.
Okay. Dangerous?
No. More dangerous here. Further from the Empress. Further than she who rules the dark. If you want to find a way home, maybe the all-loving Empress will be kind.
Then I suppose we'll have to head that way.
I will pray for your souls.
Thank you.
And then he sort of thinks and says, if you want an easier way, you could go north through the deserts. Would be dangerous. You could go through the valley. Would be dangerous. You could make your way towards the city on the sea. You go past the jungles. You want to avoid the blood bugs. Anywhere there's a settlement, there's people who want to trade, who want to sell, who pray. You're going to want to find people. I can give map. He does. He kind of like looks up, down and away.
Well, if you truly want to give the map, then I do appreciate it. It would help us greatly. And it would obviously be very much appreciated. I don't know if this would be something that you'd be interested in. But, well, it might be. And I'm going to pull out just a hold on. I'm going to pull out the half of a Terran crystal that I have.
His eyes do actually slightly widen in a very muted expression. Like eyebrows raise a little bit.
And I'm going to say, this is from our plane, but it might make an excellent offering to the Empress if you were to craft something out of it.
That's trade. And then he turns, goes into a stone box, and will take out a stone slate that has a carving of the continent of Jarviskjir on it. With sort of points where all the places in civilization would be, and some of them, the writing is in the language that you don't speak or read, but it's basically
on the road I will lore keep it.
Yeah.
Exactly, but basically it's a direct parallel to like your Jarviskjir map. It really is. But what does help is that the area that has been most detailed is comparable to Devil's Paw and Mount Onyx on your map, which is in the Savage Lands in the south.
I knew it. I was going to say, we're down there, aren't we? I was worried when you said north is the only direction. I'm like, wait, no.
The desert's in the north.
No. Yeah, when he started talking about that, I was like, oh, fuck.
It seems on the map, because the map is clearly focused on this sort of area, that you could go all the way around the jungles and towards the equivalent of Bilgewake, which is kind of where he's suggesting if you want to find a way to do anything, go to where people are, right? There's also a sort of valley that cuts in that would make the journey a little bit. Basically, whether you want to go by land or by sea,
yeah.
and then figure out yourself.
And I'm just going to turn it back to him, and I'm just going to say, and where exactly are we right now, just so I can orient.
He does point with a really grubby, oily hand.
And where are we on the map?
You are on the little mountain island, the little volcano island.
We are actually right
you
there.
You are right there.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if we were on this one or not.
No. You're on on comparable to your map. You're on Mount Onyx in a town called Devil's Paw.
Okay.
It seems that
Okay.
some of the things aren't named, and the way he's kind of avoided names is deliberate, because dwarves introduce themselves and such.
Yes, absolutely.
Etiquette and things.
Well, I'm going to bow to him slightly, not hugely, because everything is very muted for him. So doing a large, over-exaggerated bow, I feel, would be almost insulting to some extent. So just very, very slight bow, and I'll obviously have handed him the crystal as well, and then I'll say thank you very much for your help, and we'll be on our way to get out of here now. I'm sure that will make everyone a little bit more restful.
He just kind of sits back down and starts hammering away.
Great. Well, I'm going to turn to the other two. Which way do we want to go? Tobias,
No.
you don't get a say. Because you screwed this up.
Virik was like...
Lyric, you have input still. You know the most about this place.
I've told you everything I know.
It is actually something I haven't mentioned. Yes, the shadows are sort of cloying. Barut and Aelinor have this incredible uncomfortable feeling being here. It's kind of like when you're in a really stuffy room You just kind of can't breathe. You're fine, and you know you're fine, but also you feel like something's wrong. Vurik doesn't have that.
I don't know if I know everything's okay. I haven't tried to cast a spell yet.
That's true.
But I imagine my magic comes from the Feywild, worshipping like these Fey spirits, and I don't know if I'm able to cast magic here or not.
I'm real interested to see what's going to happen when combat starts and we all start throwing out abilities.
I mean, I have cast spells already. I have used sending. I have used divination.
Right.
So
it's more that I worship like these Fey spirits.
yeah, no,
like
I
the
understand.
polar opposite of where we are.
Yes. Simultaneously, I feel like if my spells are able to act here, it should follow that yours are able to act here. It's what effect will they have?
They might, they might require more effort, or they might do something else.
Right.
Yeah.
We will see.
We
So
will see.
are you asking whether or not we should take the boat like a little bit north and then abandon it and walk the rest of the way, or take the boat all the way around?
Yes.
It's a small little rowboat.
Yeah, Varric would chime in there. That water is even more terrifying than normal water. I don't know if we'd ever know if anything was coming for us or not.
And even if our hopes was to get to Watcher's Isle, eventually we wouldn't be able to take the rowboat all the way across the sea.
No, absolutely not. I think more what I'm wondering is whether or not we want to go to the to the west but northwest, and then get towards the jungles and maybe go around the outside of the jungles on foot, or whether we want to cut through, or whether we want to go through the deserts. Everything seems dangerous.
I've never really asked this, but what's the difference between a jungle and a forest?
Temperature.
It's different types of trees, different types of plants in general, different types of animals that will be there.
Worse or better?
Well, it depends. How are you with humidity?
What's humidity?
But also, this is another plane, and things might be different here, so we can't really make any assumptions.
I mean, the fact that they're called the same things means that, in my mind, they probably have at least some similarities, even if they're the exact opposite.
You said there was like a pathway, Ollie. It was like a
There's kind of like a valley.
I want to say ravine, but it's not ravine. But like, yeah, like a valley.
It might be. It's kind of a rocky, sandy area. So there's basically like the valley doesn't go all the way to settlements. Yeah, it's kind of in the area where the ash plains are on the real map. But it does cut through a good deal of desert and savanna that would usually be there in the real world, and that it exists in our in the real world as well.
Yeah. Is it more or less like as the crow flies, like a straight?
It's kind of a curve, but either way, it would be faster than just trying to go. It would be the fastest way.
We can't really make any assumptions that anything else is safer. So
exactly.
Why not?
I agree. I think
that's a good point.
This is our best bet, even if it's not a good one.
Okay.
So you're gonna get back on your boat and start heading off towards the cliffs?
Yep.
Reluctantly get back on the boat. Much easier to get in a boat when it's in a ship and then suddenly in water.
Yes.
Rather than...
It's hard to tell how much the boat's gonna rock when you step on it, because this isn't acting like regular water either. When you get on the boat,
like crazy,
you actually see a large frogman is kind of sitting kind of in the square where you were, and is actually seemingly yelling at the dwarf-like dude. Kind of asking what's going on. Not that you really understand the language.
In character version, there's nothing. Out of character. Oh no.
Sorry, is he speaking Dwarven?
No. No.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said about the language. So,
Something else.
I think we should move quickly.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. So you start rowing off into the towards the cliffs over there. It's another few hours of rowing. By the time you get to the cliffs that border the Savage Lands, you're tired. You've probably been at it for more than a day, a lot of you, and Virik is starting to get hungover from drinking earlier. There is sort of like a pebbly beach that you could stop up on, but it's a rocky cliffside to get up to sort of where the mainland is.
Okay.
Need to make camp at some point here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's better to search for a cave or not.
It is
Both
hard.
are bad.
I tell Tobias to look for a safe place to sleep.
Hey. Tobias reluctantly agrees.
He's basically our
Hey,
search
look
bitch
at that.
today.
That's
Actually a great role.
That is actually, yeah.
It's hard to see here. Where even when you're on the ground, there's not a lot of great places to you can't see very far, so you have to spend a bit of time walking around. One thing of note is that he finds no edible berries or anything to snack on, so you're going to start eating rations. Because his normal ranger affair just ain't equipped to deal with this. But he does find a cave that's a little bit up from the shoreline. Where you have to climb up a little bit to get up there, but enough that you can all do it.
That's almost better.
And it doesn't go very deep, so he straight up will wander all the way, like, it's only like 20 feet deep or so. So it's the perfect kind of place for you to set up an alarm and have one person sitting and watching. And start to sleep.
Yep.
What kind of watch are you gonna do?
I mean, rotation probably is smart. First of all, second of all, I don't know.
Second.
Yeah.
I'll take second. I need to sleep off the hangover first.
I'll take third watch then. So maybe we'll have Tobias do first, Eleanor do last, since she's up early anyways most of the time.
Yeah. And then I can make sure we're all here in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And haven't wandered off.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Does anyone want to do anything kind of during camping and whatever?
No.
No.
I am going to prepare different spells.
Yeah.
Mostly purify food and drink, and I don't know if create waters in my spells or not. I have to check that. So we could eat food here.
I have
smart.
create or destroy water. I do.
Alright. So if you get create and destroy water, I'll grab purify food and drink.
Sounds good.
You know what? I would like to try and do the memory ritual, but with a different sort of purpose.
You can
Instead
try.
of just going straight back into a memory, I want to try and partly apologize and talk to and ask for guidance, help of the... Oh, I wrote down her name.
Goddess
I
of
keep
Dreams.
forgetting. Goddess of Dreams, okay.
The goddess you don't remember the name of.
Well, it's because I...
Validate Whisperwood.
that's
But
it.
names are less important than Jarviskjir.
Yeah.
Goddess of Dreams, okay, yeah.
You can give me a religion roll.
Whisper root, pardon me. I haven't even looked at it recently.
Yeah, whisper.
Whisper root, not Whisperwood.
Religion. Nearly clicked on the wrong one. Oh well, not horrible, but
Well,
also
you
not
get
good.
to you settle down to try and trance, and the ritual doesn't work at all. You get no dreams. None of you do. You all end up having that uncomfortable sleep that's somehow too deep and too light, waking up feeling dry-mouthed and a little headachy and all over uncomfortable, and not just because you're sleeping in a cave, but just because of the malaise of this world. And I need all of you to give me a check. Let me just check.
Oh, good.
Check. Your deck.
I will say also he would be saying this stuff anyway, even if he didn't end up getting to do a dream thing, like just sort of quietly to himself. Essentially just saying he didn't realize what he was doing.
Yeah, you can be saying prayers even if you don't
Yeah.
succeed. Can you all give me charisma saves?
For once, it might actually probably be a lot more worship-based than normal. Like, normally it was
Mind
just...
you guys all get a +2.
Ooh, thank you. So 17 for me.
Oh no.
Oh, good.
Okay. I think we'll deal with that after a break.
Oh, dear.
See you in a couple minutes.
Appropriate, though, that we would be the ones to fail.